Now, the first thing you notice about this diagram, it uses diagonal braking to prevent loss of pressure if a line develops a leak. Side 1, we're pointing to now, goes to the front left and rear right. Because the two brakes are on different sides, the name diagonal braking. Side 2 goes to front right, rear left. They leave the brake master cylinder and go through a series of valves to arrive at the brakes. Now let's talk about these valves. The first valve, it occurs in each channel for each brake, is called the isolation, inlet, or hold valve, depending on the manufacturer. Now these valves, if you'll notice them, it's spring loaded so that it is open when it's turned off. The spring is pushing the valve open. To the top of that is a check valve. If pressure is higher, it'll allow it to go back the other way, counterflow. But let's talk about this normally open valve. We've shown this circuitry here. One side goes to B+, the other side has a switch that's open going to ground. To energize this particular solenoid, we would turn it on. When we energize it, it goes from normally open to closed when energized. So this is going to let things happen. If we lose all power to ABS and we can't energize solenoids, this solenoid will be in its normal state. Just below that, we have 4 more solenoids. They're called the dump or outlet valve, depending on the manufacturer, and some manufacturers call them pressure reduction valves. Let's look at this, what happens when we open this up. This valve is normally closed. Normally closed, the spring is on the back side, pushing it closed. We've got to energize it by supplying electricity to open it. So when we open it, we're going to let pressure flow back into an accumulator. An accumulator is a diaphragm that's spring-loaded. It absorbs this pressure. This is going to be the source of brake fluid to feed the pump, because what's going to happen? A pump is going to be energized to maintain pressure during ABS pressure control operation. The dump valve supplies the fluid back to the pump. As a reminder, we're going to be using these integrated ABS systems. The pumps, the valves we've been looking at, the accumulator we discussed are all housed in the electro-hydraulic assembly. The controls are from the ECM, and they can be studied in scan data or with signal analysis. We're going to talk about that. And we're going to look at the 4 channels. You see the 4 lines numbered there. They go to the individual wheels. So the thing to remember is that the pump and everything else is controlled by the ECU. It needs power. It has to have control from the brake ECM or the skid ECU, depending on the name by the manufacturer.